going on, everybody? This is John J Gaming on the mic here, coming at you with a brand new episode of the FCS Dynasty here on NCAA 06, featuring that next mod as well, as we are here in week number 9 action within season number 5, as we're getting closer to having a clear picture of who's going to be a part of the FCS playoffs and compete for a national championship game. So here we got 8 games that you guys will be excited to watch. I'm excited to watch as well. As make sure you go ahead, smack that like button, hit subscribe if you have to be brand new and you like big plays on your screen like the one that you see right now is Florida A&M, the number 22 team in college football. They do not waste any time making their presence felt. First time in the top 25, by the way. They take on the Temple Owls, who are ranked number 20 in the country. An opening drive goes just about as well as you would want that thing to go. That's going to be a touchdown for Florida A&M as they take a 7-0 lead. And man, they surely do not make it feel like that they're playing as a top 25 team, because Florida A&M is feeling loose. And Clay Davis, one of your guys' customs as well, he's feeling absolutely dangerous right now. Another touchdown for Florida A&M. That's going to make it 14-0 your score. And it looks like special teams, it just might be going off here today, as we're starting seeing some of that. Clay Davis, he's already got 1 touchdown. I did not realize that we were in a Drake song, because we're going to go back to back. And that is Clay Davis's 19th career touchdown. He's been having a very nice career there at Florida A&M, trying to lead the Rattlers to their very first FCS playoff appearance here in this series, here within year number 5. As now, Temple's going to try to get something going on offense, but this simply is not happening right now. That is not going to make things work, as that's now another touchdown for Florida A&M. 28-0 is going to be your score. And here's the crazy part, y'all. We still have 3 more quarters of football left to play. It's been absolutely dramatic blowout as of right now. So 28-0 remains your score, as Florida A&M will set to kick things back off, looking for Temple to really do something, anything really, to get things going. But just one of those days where everything's going right for one team and everything is going wrong for another team. They turn the ball over yet again. And now Florida A&M with a chance to put even more points on the board, and they will here. Another touchdown for the Florida A&M Rattlers, as they are slivering in the grass right now here in the city of brotherly love. And that now makes it a 35-0 lead. A 35-0 lead, matter of fact, that still is not out of the first quarter. We still have 3 more quarters of action, let me remind you, and it just keeps getting better for the Rattlers. This might be a new record for how fast that we've seen things completely get blown out. At least with most teams, they get to like halftime or something before it gets to 35-0. But we're certainly not getting that there. Yet another touchdown for Florida A&M. And after 1 quarter of action, just 1 quarter of action, it's a 42-0 lead. So we'll see if Temple plays a little bit better here in the second quarter of action, as Omar Maynard is in the shotgun formation for the Temple Owls. But he's going to throw yet another interception, unfortunately. That will be picked off yet again. And because that is going to be picked off yet again, that is going to be inside the 40-yard line. So another golden opportunity for the Rattlers to get more points up on the board. And they've been doing pretty good, all things considered, here in the red zone. They are already 2 for 2 in the red zone opportunities. As now it's going to be a 1st and 10 from the 18-yard line. Throwing to the left-hand side. Finds his receiver and finds the end zone yet again. Just an absolutely shocking revelation that is happening for us on this football field right now. Like, you know, I thought there was a legitimate shot Florida A&M was going to win this football game. Don't get me wrong, but for them to do this right now, this has been absolutely incredible, and this will continue all the way through the game, as that last touchdown that you're seeing right now, that will give them the 50 burger already. And while they will eventually put the brakes on they still end up taking Temple to town, winning 63-0 against a ranked top 25 opponent. So here's hoping that we get a little bit more of a competitive matchup as we have a non-top 25 matchup on our hands. We have the Southern Jaguars, who are really trying to do anything and everything to save their season. 2-4 as of right now. They are pretty much out of the conference championship hunt already, which is a little bit disappointing considering Southern was certified them this past season. They're taking on the number 1 team in college football right now. Down here at the FCS level, they are taking on the Western Carolina Catamounts. And not only are they taking on Western Carolina, they are also taking on Michael Young. He is back in the starting lineup. He is back after serving that 3-game suspension. And now we'll see Michael Young go to work, as he's going to have a little bit of a muddled pocket to work with, but he is certainly not phased, really looking like that veteran quarterback that has really matured and developed during the time that Western Carolina was on those NCAA sanctions. So that's why we did not see them in years 3 and 4 in the FCS playoffs, even though they are more than good enough to have played in the FCS playoffs in those 2 years, strangely enough. But Southern is already down 7-0, and they need a response from Flair McNair, who does throw a nice pass over to Kobe Pace, but that will also end up being intercepted. And it looks like Pistol McNeil is going to land on this football. It actually was not an interception. So that was Corey Hopkins, one of your guys' customs, that forced a fumble. And Pistol McNeil landed on the fumble. So a little bit of a custom-to-custom teamwork there, as Western Carolina will take back over, throwing over to the left-hand side. And that will be caught for a massive first down yet again. The Catamounts are certainly rolling like the number 1 team in college football, as Western Carolina will finish up the drive, and they will already get themselves yet another touchdown up on the scoreboard there, and they have a 14-0 lead. So now Southern is going to try to answer back, as they did turn the football over last time out, as Flair McNair is going to try to make some things happen. He's going to throw over to the right-hand side and finds his fellow custom, Stace Abdul. Stace Abdul is going to get a touchdown that will bring them back within 1 possession. But the real key here is this Southern offensive line is got to provide some time right now, because Western Carolina, they can get after your quarterback and make this a very long day. Corey Hopkins getting the sack there, and now we got an interception as well down the sideline, and Johnson brings it all the way back. His 3rd interception of the season goes all the way into the end zone. Touchdown Catamounts, and that will make it a 21-7 lead. But that will give Southern the football right back again, as Flair McNair is going to try to recover. He's going to throw over to the right-hand side. He wants his guy. He's going to find his guy, who comes down and makes the reception. And that is a first down for the Southern Jaguars, as Flair McNair testing that one-on-one matchup on the outside. He's got some cojones, throwing it over to Pistol McNeil's way. A very talented freshman, by the way. And Pistol McNeil will finish off the drive, finding a wide but naked open tight end in Christopher Goodwin all the way into the end zone. And Christopher Goodwin will have a touchdown. I mean, Flair McNair, nobody around him, man. That is an easy read for him to make. And it's still a very tight game. 21-14 your score late in the 3rd quarter of action. We'll see if the Southern team can come through, as Stace Abdul makes yet another reception. This time, Flair McNair does take a shot, though. That will make it 3rd and 6. Flair's going to try to set up the quarterback draw, but Paul Kennedy, he is all over that like cheese on macaroni. And 4th and 7, Southern is going to go for it here. You want to take down the number 1 team in the nation, you got to grow some cojones. Flair McNair's got some massive cojones. He's throwing towards the end zone, and he's going to get it. Touchdown, Southern! And the Jaguars just tied this football game against the number 1 team in America. Ladies and gentlemen, we got ourselves a football game now. 21 apiece now being your score, as the Catamounts will take over at the 23-yard line. Michael Young, he'll drop back the pass. He's going to throw over the middle of the field. He finds Davis. Davis is going to go ahead and get chopped down finally at about midfield. but he certainly found that soft spot in the defense. Does end up being brought down from behind, though, as it now leads to 1st and 10 from the 49-yard line. Fullback's going to try to get a carry up the field, but let's go of the football after a couple turnovers initially by Southern. It's his defense is going to force a turnover now on the Catamounts, and that could give Southern the lead. Late in the 3rd quarter, though, this is a 3rd and 8, as Florida McNair has plenty of time to throw this football, throwing over to the left-hand side, and what a grab! And what an absolute dime there, and that will go for a 1st down for the Southern Jaguars. Florida McNair, man, he is more than capable of making some plays if you just give him that time, and Southern is a pretty solid red zone team, coming away with points on 70% of their possessions as they go ahead and get it out to their receiver, and the receiver is going to punch it in. The Southern Jaguars, with 5.5 minutes left to play in this football game, we're now talking about them having the lead. Are you serious right now? You absolutely love to see it. 21-28 is your score. Is now Western Carolina. They need points on the scoreboard, and Michael Young just throws an absolute missile as Don Davis now at well over 100 yards receiving on the day. Now we'll put Western Carolina just a handful of yards away from tying this ball game up. 2nd and 2, and they got it loaded up on both sides. Could be a huge battle in the trenches. Young is going to it's going to be a play action. Young rolls right, finds a man in the back of the end zone. Touchdown, Catamounts. And it is your custom Brian Kahn that's going to have the tying touchdown. And eventually that will bring us into overtime. So it's going to take more than 4 quarters to decide this game. However, Southern does fail to score, so it comes down to the leg of Ross. JC Dallas is going to be the holder. This is to win in the 1st overtime period. Kicker getting ready to go ahead and kick this ball up. It's up, and it's good! It is going to be good. And Western Carolina, by the skin of their teeth, they are going to survive. They will get to 6-0 on this season, so they are still undefeated. Meanwhile, this is a heartbreaking loss for Southern that likely ends their playoff aspirations, as they are sitting at now just 2-5 with 4 games left to play in their schedule. So while we were finishing up that Western Carolina game, we did have a couple of more, early afternoon games come in. First of all, Southeastern, they blow the doors off of William & Mary as Southeastern wins 49-7, and that will get the Southeastern Lions to above 500 on the season. In addition, we have Grambling State also taking care of business against Jackson State as Grambling State wins their 3rd game of the year. They win 38-0 at home as Jackson State falls to 4-3 now. And of course, we have Northern Arizona, who did have a 1 o'clock kickoff on the road against Florida International. The Panthers put up a pretty big fight, but the Lumberjacks were too much to handle, as Northern Arizona gets to 4-2 with a 37-28 win. But we return back into the action, though, as we have a big-time matchup happening in the Big 12 Conference right now. We got number 4 Texas Southern going on the road to take on the Mocs of Chattanooga. They come in ranked number 12 in the country, but Chattanooga, they was ranked in the top 5. They were as high as number 4 in the country at one point, but Chattanooga has lost 2 consecutive games in a row. First to Arkansas Pine Bluff and the Western Carolina. It's been a difficult slate for Chattanooga, and now taking on a Texas Southern team who knows how to put points up in a hurry, as Solomon West gets behind the defense, and he's going to be gone like a girl in a country song. Touchdown Tigers, as Adam Mayhew, the left-handed quarterback for this Texas Southern football team, able to get behind in the coverage. And that is just all the cushion that he needs, to be honest, because Texas Southern, one of the best defenses in the country. They are number 1 in yards allowed per game at just over 150. And Mike Spicer is going to find that out the really hard way here, as Mike Spicer is going to throw an early interception as Brad Harvey gets Texas Southern in the red zone already. We're already looking at a red zone situation, and Texas Southern possibly taking that 14-0 lead. But that being said, Texas Southern did settle for the field goal, so it is only 10-0 as of right now. But Chattanooga, they have to go ahead and punt this football away. This punt is going to be in the corner to Solomon West, and Solomon West just has to go ahead, make one singular guy miss, and it was barbecue chicken after that as Solomon West finds himself into the end zone. That is a touchdown for the Tigers. And it's a 17-0 lead, and it's been all Texas Southern right now. And it's just been an ideal situation when Texas Southern has this kind of lead, because then you can lean a little bit more into Roderick Murray, who undisputably is one of the best running backs in the country. I would actually be shocked if Roderick Murray does not find his way into the NFL somehow, even if he's just a day free pick, since I know that, you know, running backs today are not as valued as they were, 5, 10, 15 years ago. It's more about that passing ability and, being able to be more versatile as an athlete. And Texas Southern certainly has that versatility. Solomon West going to find the end zone yet again here for the Tigers. He's only got 3 touchdowns on this game, and we barely have played a half, right? We will jump into the second half, though. It's still a 27-0 lead for Texas Southern. Just Chattanooga can't do anything right here today. Their offense is just absolutely sputtering. And special teams, well, they've completely forgotten how to play on special teams. Malachi Ross had a chance to bring the fellow custom Solomon West down, but he cannot make that tackle happen. So now it's 34-0 as really Mark Spicer trying to get anything to happen, but he fumbles the football, and there's a scramble for it. Texas Southern will end up recovering the fumble there. So an absolute rout ensuing, and the Texas Southern Tigers will remain undefeated, winning 44-0. Meanwhile, Chattanooga continues to sputter out of control. They lost their 3rd consecutive game of the season. But more conference action coming your way, though. But we go out to the Pacific Coast as Sacramento State goes on the road to take on the North Dakota Fighting Hawks, who are also 2-0 in conference play and are trying to be a legitimate threat to win the conference title and really trying to pull that Eastern Washington route. That's how Eastern Washington got their first playoff appearance last season, just having a strong conference performance throughout the course of the season. But this Sacramento State squad, they have some serious national championship aspirations. Coming in number 3 in the country, and they are led by their wide receiver, Jacob Hill, who's one of your guys' customs as well. But they're going to go to a different receiver early on as Corey Hall finds Johnson down the sideline. And that's how Sacramento State gets the scoring going. They're able to score their first touchdown off of a 67-yard touchdown pass. And that was one of those, I'm going to check it down and, hopefully my receiver makes a play. And boy, did his receiver, man, certainly make a play on the football as North Dakota finds itself down 7-3. But this North Dakota team also has a lot of fight as Chip Tompkins, who actually is a transfer from Grambling State. He transferred to North Dakota a few seasons ago as Octavian Cater wanted to leave North Dakota and come to Grambling State. Not like it was trade. You can't have trades in college football, obviously. That's not how this works. But, it's just interesting that they both went to the transfer portal and, switch schools. It's just a very interesting observation that I happen to solve there. But North Dakota is actually tied. They're actually giving Sacramento State everything that they have. And with 2:30 left to play here in the first half, they actually have a chance to take the lead as long as they don't lose the football anytime soon. But Mark Woods is going to bring the house of pain. He's going to be feeling that one in the morning. And now it's going to be a 3rd and 14. They'll have Chip Tompkins launch this towards the end zone, and it's actually caught. Touchdown, Fighting Hawks, and that is going to give North Dakota the lead here in Grand Forks, North Dakota. Sacramento State, man, possibly on upset alert right now, as we were talking about a team that gave up some more points, man. They gave up some more points, and now that up 17-10. North Dakota gets that football once again. They like to run it, but Chip Tompkins, he's going to choose to throw the football instead, but it's going to be intercepted. That might give Sacramento State a little bit of life there, as they will be setting up shop now at about the 40-yard line, and a chance for the Hornets to sting back and tie this football game before the half. However, Corey Hall gets hurt, so Jack Quinn, the true freshman, comes into this game, but he shows some cojones, throwing towards the back of the end zone and finds Taylor for the touchdown. And the true freshman is going to help the Sacramento State Hornets tie this game up at 17-all and half. Jumping into the second half of action, though, is North Dakota is trying to establish that running game. They do love to run the football, and they want to win that time of possession. Tompkins going to drop back, though. He's going to throw over to right-hand side. It's going to be picked off. This might go into the end zone, too, and it does. Aaron Bell with his second interception of the season. And it might be his biggest play that he's made all season long so far, as that will get them into the end zone. Touchdown, Hornets. 24-17 now going to be your score. Ensuing kickoff, though, North Dakota will try to answer back in time this football game. It's starting to get away from him just a little bit, and you can see why, as we got a fumble on the ground. Special teams doing its work as well. And now Sacramento State can extend the lead with Corey Hall coming back into the game. He just had a pinched nerve that forced him to sit out for the rest of the first half for precautionary reasons. Hall will throw to the right-hand side, though, and tries to dump it off to his fullback, but let him on just a little bit too long, and that's going to be a little costly as Battle. It's a big-time interception that will help North Dakota stay in this game a little bit longer, but they don't do anything after the turnover, so they're still down 24-17, but they are getting some more mistakes forced on Corey Hall yet again. That will be picked off for the second time. That makes it 2 times in a row. Might as well call it a Drake song. And this one was just Corey Hall being a little bit too greedy. You know, had the safety help over, was trying to find that ball over to Espinoza or Jacob Hill, have a jump ball for either of those guys. Thankfully, North Dakota is really sputtered out on the offensive end because, man, you know, if they were playing a better team or with a more consistent offense, they could legitimately be on upset alert. But it looks like Sacramento State, they're looking to find their groove, and they do here. A nice throw out to the outside. That will be a touchdown for the Hornets. And it's going to be 31-17 now, as Tompkins is going to go ahead and try to pitch things out over to the right-hand side, but there's a fumble on the ground, and it's going to be recovered by the Sacramento State Hornets as they are taking over here in the Fargo Dome, looking for their second red zone score of the game, handing it off to the running back, and the running back punches it into the end zone. That's a touchdown for the Sacramento State Hornets. And remember when this game was close? Yeah, not so much anymore. 38-17 is going to be your score now, as Chris Thompson is going to be forced to throw this football a whole lot more. He does find his receiver, though. He does make a nice throw over to that right-hand side. Peters does get North Dakota across midfield. They will be going into their no-huddle offense, though, as they're going to hand it off here, and this might actually work. Number 1, how about this big fella finding his way into the end zone? And that's just sheer grit and determination. They may be long shots to win this game, but that being said, they are not a long shots in our heart. They are playing through the whistle till that clock hits 000. But eventually every team gives up, and I think this is the sign that North Dakota is going to do that. 4th down by 17 with 11 seconds left. They're going to punt this football away. So you would think Sacramento State would knee it and call it a day. No, their corner is going to run it all the way back into the end zone, because you know how the sport of college football is. You got to have some style points for sure. And that's exactly what we saw there. That was Sacramento State, their attempt to get some style points. They do win this game 47-24. So it looks like a convincing victory for the Sacramento State Hornets, as they now get the 6-1 on the year, while North Dakota, they are back to just 500. So more Big Sky action coming your way, as we have a rivalry game here between the Portland State Vikings, who are ranked number 23 in the country. They are taking on the Eastern Washington Eagles, who are trying their best to keep pace with the Weber States and Sacramento States of this conference. Seems like as of right now it is a 2-team race between those football teams in particular. So both teams really do need this win, because there's been a narrative for sure that Portland State is a tad overrated. I mean, they're 1-3. We just got to call it how it is. Not a lot of 1-3 teams would find themselves in the top 25. I think they're benefiting off of the fact that they were a top 8 team last year. Like, they got a first round bye and all that. So kind of cruising off their reputation, maybe just a little bit. But if there's a get right game, Portland State, if they can win against their rival, that would be really helpful for them right now. And that's a good way to start the game. 93-yard touchdown, taking it all the way down the sideline. That's one way to get it done. But Carl Joseph Fousen, he can play some football too. He has really done an admirable job of cutting down on his turnovers, because that's been a problem for Carl Joseph Fousen, and why Eastern Washington doesn't have a bigger national profile to this point in this series. It's partially because of that, but Fousen is off to a good start here. 5 for 7, 86 yards passing so far in the day, but haven't led them to a touchdown drive yet until now, as Terrell Barrett is going to find the end zone for the very first time for the Eastern Washington Eagles. That will cut it to just a field goal game. We got ourselves a football game on our hands. And that's the beautiful thing about rivalry games too, is that they can go in either direction. And how about this play? That is Carl Pierre throwing a beautiful ball to the right hand side and just allowing his receiver to make a play on the football, man. That's Jordan able to run away from just about everybody. And he'll eventually be chopped down at the 25-yard line, as Pierre will try to continue to drive. Throw over to the left-hand side. Finds his custom receiver. That is Ryan Otis, who does make a play there on the football. And now Portland State extends their lead 17-7. I don't know what the heck I'm talking about, to be honest. But Jonathan Fousen seems like he knows what he's doing, because he's going to throw one downfield. Triple coverage. And his guy still comes down with it. You want to talk about having some balls? Oh my goodness, did that take some serious cojones right there, as Carl Fousen gets a massive completion and couldn't even get all of that into that throw, because he was facing so much pressure right up the middle of the field. But it does give Eastern Washington a red zone opportunity, and they have been good here throughout the season. Fousen, he's going to throw towards the end zone though, and fires and catches that football. That is going to be a touchdown for the Eastern Washington Eagles, who once again find themselves right back into this game. 17-14 now your score. Trying to throw to the left-hand side. And listen, I know Fousen has thrown quite a few interceptions throughout the course of his career, but that one you cannot blame on him. That was just some bad luck there. Having it batted the way that it was multiple times. Thompson does end up getting the interception for him. So now Portland State comes back out and they try to get back into this game. They are very good in the red zone for as much as their early season struggles have been so far. It's just that they just straight up haven't been able to move the football as of late to start this season. But nice touchdown throw there. Carl Pierre providing some good help there, and they're going to cash in off of that turnover. And gonna have a lot of momentum as well, at least with 1 minute left to play. But Carl Pierre is also not perfect either, as Eric Paschal, who really has not seen a lot of playing time over the course of his season, at least not yet anyways. He steps in here and does get yet another interception. So now we got, jumping into the fourth quarter, Eastern Washington still down by 13. It's Carl J. Fousen time. KJT, can he lead the comeback that could kick Portland State out of the top 25? We're going to find out right now if he's got that juice in him. He's got to lead this drive first. First and 10 from the 12-yard line. Terrell Barrett's actually going to get the carry, and Terrell Barrett finds his way into the end zone. Touchdown, Eagles. So that does cut to just 6 points, and they will get the ball back too. A chance to possibly win this football game here in the last couple of minutes of this game. Can Portland State hang on and actually win this game? 2nd and 16 from the 41-yard line after the sack. Fousen going play action, rolls to his left, fires, caught, but it's not caught by an Eastern Washington guy. Oh no, it is caught by a Portland State defender. That will be intercepted at the 6-yard line, and his receiver was open, just slightly underthrew him, And just like in life, this game of football, man, is a game of inches. And if that ball was just thrown a couple more inches further downfield, we're getting a touchdown and maybe an Eastern Washington win. That's how close they were to winning this football game. But kudos to Portland State. They had some doubters in terms of being overrated. They proved them wrong, and they got to 2-3. While Eastern Washington, they are now 4-3 and will need to finish strong to go to the playoffs once again. But let's take a break from the game action and take a look at some of the simulated games around the FCS. And we start in the WAC Conference as New Mexico State continues its impressive season as they beat the Idaho Vandals 44-37 to prove that they are indeed a top 25 caliber team. As for North Dakota State, though, they finally get themselves back on track. They blow out UMass in a regionally televised game, 38-0 being your final score, and UMass continuing to struggle at just 1-6 on the season. Someone that is also not necessarily struggling through the year is San Diego State, although they did have a close one here. South Dakota gave them everything that they can handle, but just did not have the offensive firepower, as the Aztecs do end up winning 14-10 in conference play. Also remaining in the top 25 for right now is Eastern Michigan, as they do just get in at number 25 in the country. They blow out the Sycamores of Indiana State 31-14 to get to 7-1 on the year. So there's been a lot of exciting games that have been going down, but it does lead us into the FCS game of the week. We got Georgia Southern, who's the number 8 team in college football, and your defending national champions as well. They will be taking on the Cardiac Cats of Sam Houston State, who comes in ranked number 6 in the country, and dare I say it, it could very well be a potential conference championship matchup, something that we definitely have to watch out for. Could very well see this in the future, but Georgia Southern does have an early 3-0 lead as Lee Corso actually picking the Cardiac Cats, and the Cardiac Cats are going to have a big touchdown strike in the heart of the Georgia Southern defense, and Herring is going to find his way into the end zone. That is a touchdown for the Bearcats, as that will be an 81-yard strike. How about this throw down the sideline? David Bullock showing that huge arm talent there. And now Georgia Southern finds itself down 7-3. David Benson, he's going to be looking for an answer as well. Tries to throw it up into double coverage. I don't know what we were doing there, but Paris Harris, he's going to find his first interception of this game. That will bring him up to the 43-yard line because of that. Now it's just David Benson doing a little bit too much there, just trying to find some plays happening. I mean, it's been a little bit difficult for this offense to get going with both Jeff Boston being injured and then Joseph Krakowski. He's been hurt for a lot of the year as well, and it's really put a lot of pressure on this defense for Georgia Southern. So, you know, they could still be a good football team, a football team that is certainly capable of getting back to the FCS playoffs, but man, they really need Jeff Boston and Joseph Krakowski back if they want to make a serious national championship run, because man, they are having a hard time right now scoring points. Maybe this turnover, though, can get them going here as David Benson tries to set a pitch. It does actually, they get the pinch off, but I don't know if it was for much benefit. But in spite of that, Georgia Southern will drive it all the way inside the 5-yard line, and another running back will get in there. They do have some good, solid running back depth, but it's always good to have your starters and your key starters. If that, but Johnson does make it work there, and Georgia Southern will have the lead with less than 2 minutes left to play here in the first half, as Mike Miniacci puts the football on the ground, and it is recovered by the Georgia Southern defense. As once again, I just burped. That is absolutely sexy. So that is Mark Wesley, who started in that national championship game last year, helped blow out James Madison. And now David Benson could set up a score that will bring their lead even bigger. And Aaron Smith comes down with the catch. That is their big body tight end, doing some big tight end stuffs there. And now it's 17-7. As Sam Houston State desperately trying to get going here. They have really, besides that long touchdown throw, they have not really been able to get this crowd going. Maybe this will get the crowd up a little bit though, as big turnover by the Sam Houston State special teams unit. This might be what they need. 1st and 10 from the 49-yard line. It's going to be Bullock dropping back the pass, throwing towards the right-hand side. He finds Craig Gregg, who has really done his due diligence. That is a senior that is out here trying to get some serious playing time. And man, has he really stepped up to the plate. As now, 3rd down. Sam Houston needs another big play. Inside the 30-yard line. They're on the fringes of field goal range. Bullock dropping back the pass. He's going to fire over to the left-hand side, and it's going to be caught. 1st down for the Cardiac Cats, as they're now inside the 10-yard line. 1st and goal for the Cardiac Cats, and they're coming to storm back. Next play after that 1st down conversion is going to be a direct snap to Mike Miniacci, who breaks the tackle, fights through a couple of more, and all of a sudden, the Cardiac Cats, they are going to be right back into this football game, as that is a touchdown for Sam Houston State. So just a 3-point game all of a sudden, as they kick things back off to the Georgia Southern Eagles. Ball is going to be up in the air. It will be caught by Mark Johnson, who's got some space down the sideline. It's going to be a foot race. Did somebody catch him? And he's not going to be caught. He will indeed be gone. Like a girl in a country song. Touchdown, Golden Eagles. It is now just a touchdown game. Georgia Southern looking to put it away. One thing that they have done a pretty good job so far in this one, they have really dominated the time possession to try to really take the air out of the football, but sometimes you're forced to pass, and sometimes you make a critical mistake. That's exactly what we saw there, as Julius Johnson with the interception of his life right there. That's going to tie this game. So now at 24 apiece here, 3rd and 15, a chance to win this game. Firing down the right-hand side, and it's caught. It's caught by Craig Gregg, and Craig Gregg is going to go ahead and make the catch. Huge 1st down. They're already closing in on field goal range. One more 1st down should very well do it. Georgia Southern needs to step up on defense now. 1st and 10 from the 44-yard line. Dropping back, fires down to the right-hand side, but it's intercepted. Georgia Southern gets their stop that they're looking for. Oh my goodness. The defense coming through and making some plays, as they are not trying to lose their 3rd game of the season already. Now it's Georgia Southern's time to shine, but David Benson puts the football on the ground, and that's going to be all she wrote here, guys. 4th turnover is a devastating turnover here for Georgia Southern. They set up for a short field goal, which does get sunken through, and the Cardiac Cats win. They beat Georgia Southern 27-24, and Georgia Southern could be in a little bit of trouble maybe. I know they had a tough schedule to the teams that they lost to particularly, but this is already their 3rd loss of the year. Definitely some concerns as we get into the late part of the season. Meanwhile, Sam Houston State looking like a virtual lock to go to the conference championship maybe. They're going to be 6-1 thanks to this win here in the game of the week. So we go ahead and send ourselves back over to the West Coast, as we got Montana and Weber State going at it against each other. A little bit of rivalry game action. We did end up seeing Sacramento State winning earlier in this episode, so Weber State does need this win if they want to keep pace with Sacramento State in the conference championship hunt, where Montana is just trying to find their footing right now. Sitting at 500 at the moment, ranked number 41 in the country. You know, they are well out of range of a at-large bid, but a win against Weber State would go huge for them right now, as Weber State's trying to put up the first points on the scoreboard, as Aveline Thomp's going to drop back the pass. Going to try to throw to right-hand side, but just did not put enough air under that football, though. And that will end up being broken up by Henry Wells. That is one of your guys' customs there. And now that leads to 2nd and 10 from the 14-yard line. Thomas trying to throw again to the right-hand side, but this time it's going to be intercepted down the sideline. He's pulling away from the closest Weber State defender. And how about this for a change of momentum? Montana is going to take the lead as Sean Goodwin gets his 3rd interception of the year. And with that 3rd interception, he takes it all the way back to the crib. And that will be a touchdown for your Montana Grizzlies, as they will take a 7-0 lead early. Next drive for Weber State, following the touchdown that they allowed, they will go back to the air. They have a lot of faith in Aveline Thomas, but we do end up seeing yet another interception here thrown by Aveline Thomas. And Montana, a team that is without Jamison Skinner, he is injured in this one, so Mark Fulton is in at quarterback for the start of this game. He gets the start. We'll see if he hands it off to Mario Matthews, one of the top young running backs in the country, and he does, finding the end zone. That's a touchdown for Montana, and Mario Matthews makes it a 14-0 lead. As now Weber State just trying to find their groove. They've been having some pretty good starts, some pretty good drives to start this game, but cannot finish said drives. And now going 3 and out, they are just falling apart here early on this first quarter. Still a lot of football that is left to be played, but they're going to have a 21-0 lead though. As now 2nd and long coming up, Mark Fulton's going to throw to the right-hand side. He finds his receiver. That is the other tailback. That is Brian Hurst. And Brian Hurst makes a play on the football. They've been really doing a good job late in the season, incorporating both of their running backs as Brian Hurst and Mario Matthews. They are quite that two-headed monster, but Mario Matthews finds his way into the end zone. So that's another touchdown for the Montana Grizzlies, as they are going to pull a 28-0 lead on a team that is ranked number 11 in the entire country right now. And Mario Matthews is going to add on to that as well. Another touchdown for the sophomore running back. That's another score up on the scoreboard now. And that's going to be 35-0. It's been some surprising games that we have seen so far, between the Florida A&M game, Georgia Southern, finally seeing a change of the guard in the SEC. And then now this game right here is Weber State. They're fighting for their lives right now. They're trying to keep up with Sacramento State, like I said. And right now they're looking like they are well on track to lose their very first game here in conference play, and their first game entirely of the season. They've been undefeated so far, as Aveline Thomas is going to fire over the middle of the field, but it's going to be intercepted. That is Sean Goodwin again, able to get his hands on the football. That is his 2nd interception of the game, his 4th one of the season. Good season for Sean Goodwin now, as Montana will drive down the field once again. They do get just inside of the red zone. They're going to be sitting at the 22-yard line as Mark Fulton sits in the shotgun formation. He's got some time in the pocket, fires towards the end zone, and it's caught! Touchdown, Montana! That's another one up on the scoreboard, and that will end up being barbecue chicken. Weber State does get a few points in the second half, so they don't get shut out, but we do have a top 25 upset. We'll see if we can get one more before the end of this episode, though, as Arkansas Pine Bluff will have to travel on the road, and they will be taking on the Alabama State Hornets. And Alabama State's been having a solid season, man. 4-2, 2-1 in conference play as well. This is a big game for Alabama State. Winning this game would mean they would have some serious legitimacy in terms of getting that at-large bid into the FCS playoffs. Arkansas Pine Bluff, of course, trying to get to their playoffs as well for the very first time. So, they're trying to finish the year strong as well. No doubts about that. We're just going to have to see who wants it more. As Alabama State will start with the football, led by their senior quarterback, T.Y. Huntley. He's going to roll to the right-hand side. He's going to find his receiver, and it's a big-time catch. Huge first down for the Alabama State Hornets, as that receiver just comes up and makes a play on the ball. And now, in Golden Lion territory, Alabama State, they look to strike first. He's going to go for it all down the field, and it's in double coverage, yet still finds a way to come down with it. It's the senior-to-senior connection, Trey Williams, who's going to get the first points on the board. And Alabama State They're going to have an early lead. Going to be up 7-3 here as T.Y. Huntley's going to try to lead another successful drive down the field, looking for his impact receiver. But this time he just leaves it just a little bit short, though. And that will be an interception, unfortunately. But yeah, let's go ahead and check out the replay real fast as here's T.Y. Huntley. You know, he had his man. He did have his guy. Receiver did have a step, just left it a little bit short for him, unfortunately. So Arkansas Pine Bluff will take over. Niall Matthews does get hurt in this game, by the way. So Jacob Coolbeans does come in and play some quarterback. Don't know if he'll be in the entire game or not, but the running backs are going to help out here as Adam Carter, he is actually going to throw this football, find a receiver. And that's how Arkansas Pine Bluff takes the lead. They pull out the old razzle-dazzle. And Arkansas Pine Bluff now in the lead. We'll jump into that second quarter of action now as T.Y. Huntley drops back the pass, has a collapsing pocket, finds his receiver though. How about the presence by T.Y. Huntley, able to stay composed in there the entire time. And that's going to go for a first down. Can the Hornets pick up another one though to try to tie this game up at the very least? 3rd and 10, firing over to the right hand side, but it's going to be intercepted by Ryan Potts. That is his first appearance on the old scorecard. As Arkansas Pine Bluff now once again going to go the other way. That is T.Y. Huntley's second interception that he's thrown today. Is now Jacob Coolbeans off the interception. Is going to try to throw over the middle of the field. He throws an interception too, but it's fumbled. Thankfully, Alabama State falls back on the fumble. Neither custom quarterback playing great in this one so far, as the two custom quarterbacks have primarily been in this game so far. 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions combined, and that's just an overthrow by Coolbeans. Coolbeans had a receiver over the middle of the field, but just could not put it on the money though. And now it's 1st and 10 from the 38-yard line. Looking over to the left-hand side. That's intercepted as well. And it's the star linebacker, Jacob Brightman, down the sideline. And he's going to score. Touchdown, Golden Lions. As Arkansas Pine Bluff with their biggest lead of the game. They're going to be up by 10. And that's just a shame, because Alabama State was actually driving as well. And they're even in the lead in terms of total yardage. They have had more yards on offense than Arkansas Pine Bluff. It's just that those turnovers have been different so far. We'll see if T.Y. Huntley can turn around as he throws it again. And he's going to be picked off once again. Just a rough day here for T.Y. Huntley. In a game that, frankly, Alabama State, they really need. And if they want to legitimize those playoff chances. But Arkansas Pine Bluff, they just really seem like a team of destiny. You know, they were just 1 spot shy of getting into the FCS playoffs last year. If you guys remember, back in year number 4, they were actually the last team out. Yeah, they were the last team out. They were ranked at the top 25 to end the regular season and all the conference championships. So, you know, they're trying to get that playoff spot, man. They're trying to get that playoff action for the first time. As that's a great throw there by Jacob Coolbeans. That will get him into the end zone, and that is a touchdown for your Golden Lions as Coolbeans throws his second touchdown pass of the game. So now Arkansas Pine Bluff with a 24-7 lead, as now T.Y. Huntley, he's going to throw again over the middle of the field. It is caught, and that will go for a first down. Good idea there by T.Y. Huntley, able to find a soft spot in the defense. And now he hurries up his troops to the line with 1:30 left to play in the 3rd quarter of action. T.Y. under center. He's got multiple people in the backfield. And it looks like it's going to be a run. No, it's play action. It's fumbled on the ground. And T.Y. Huntley hurts himself. Looks like he did injure his shoulder. We will see how serious of that injury we are talking about. It looks like he did strain his shoulder, so he should be back in the next possession, but Arkansas Pine Bluff takes over at the 48-yard line. Adam Carter's going to take it out to the left-hand side. He's able to find some space down the perimeter. He's down the sideline, and it is a touchdown for your Arkansas Pine Bluff Golden Lions. That now makes it 31-7. That will be your score. And just great job following the blocks, and you don't need to make one man miss. Adam Carter certainly was able to do just that. So 31-7 now your score as T.Y. Huntley again throwing to the left-hand side. And it's just not a good day. Not a good day for the Alabama State Hornets team. They're going to turn the ball over on 6 different occasions. You know, you can't win a football game like that. It simply cannot happen. You got to do a much better job taking care of the football, as Cool Beans will look to add another touchdown on the board. And maybe we get ourselves up out of here, but we will see Alabama State get an interception of their own. So they're at least able to force a couple of turnovers themselves as Carlos Lobdell gets his 3rd interception of the season. And this is a young backup quarterback not realizing the situation. You know, you don't have to throw it into traffic in the red zone unless, you know, there is a chance for that receiver to be open. I have no idea who he was trying to throw that football to be honest. Really should have just taken the points. That did not happen though. And now it's 31-7 your score with 2:30 left to play in the game. But look at that speed rush there. That is Simeon Baker that came in and just lit up. Now a backup quarterback in the game at this point. Did not like how T.Y. Huntley was playing, and they got him out of there. So now backup quarterback comes to the game, but he's not going to do much better. He will also be throwing that interception as well in this one. And I mean, that's really what's the difference in this game. It's not like Arkansas Pine Bluff was really a dominating factor. It's just that Alabama State, they just kept shooting themselves in the foot. And that was the ultimate difference. If this was just, you know, instead of Alabama State turning the ball over 7 different times, maybe it's more of like 2 times, like 2 turnovers, maybe even 3. But Alabama State, at the very least, will at least make the score look a little bit better on the scorecard. Is Trey Williams, he is still in the game. He is the senior wide receiver for the Alabama State Hornets. He will get into the end zone for a touchdown. They will try for the 2-point conversion. That, of course, did not work. But Arkansas Pine Bluff, man, they showed why they're the number 7 team in the country. Did not play their best game today, but Alabama State, they really gave them a lot of fits. When you're forcing 7 turnovers, that is really something to truly behold. And Arkansas Pine Bluff looking really good to get into the playoffs for the very first time. 5-2 with 4 games left to play in their season. You know, if they can win 2 of their next 4 games, you can do that. Then I think Arkansas Pine Bluff can find themselves playing in the playoffs for the very first time here in this series. We'll just have to wait and see. But before we go ahead and look at the newest iteration of the Sports Illustrated magazine, let's go ahead and also take a look and, you know, see what's happening with some of these 8 o'clock games that were in simulation. Eastern Illinois continues its good stretch of football that they're playing as they take on Morgan State at home, winning 28-13 and getting to 4-2. And then we have a couple of other games in the Big Ten as well. Tennessee Martin playing up against Tennessee Tech and the Skyhawks winning 38-20 in order to get to 5-2 on the season. As for the Sanford Bulldogs, they survive a tough battle against Youngstown State. Sanford narrowly winning on the road, winning by a final score of 39-34. And with that, we'll go ahead and now check out the newest top 25 polls that just have been released. And how could I possibly forget the number 5 team in America, the James Madison Dukes? They will get to 6-1 here on the season, beating the Hampton Pirates 45-14 in conference action as Stephen Terry goes off once again. He throws 5 touchdown passes in the big win. So we move on to week number 10, and how about a little bit of love for the WAC as New Mexico State finds itself on the cover. But how high do they jump in the top 25 polls? We'll go ahead and jump into this Sports Illustrated magazine and see what those top 25 polls are going to be looking like. And at first glance, we don't see any change at the top as Western Carolina, Akron, Sacramento State, Texas Southern, James Madison, Sam Houston State, and Arkansas Pine Bluff, they are all going to remain in their same spots. After the top 10, though, we do have more changes. Northwestern State moves up 1 spot to number 8. San Diego State moves up a spot as well to number 9 after a close win to the University of South Dakota. Southeast Missouri State, though, a big winner as they move up 3 spots even though they were on bye. Outside of the top 10, though, we have Northern Arizona moving up to 11 after a 9-point win over Florida International from the Sun Belt Conference. Eastern Kentucky also moving up 3 spots as well, in spite of being on bye. Eastern Illinois moves up 3 spots too. They had a 15-point win over Morgan State. In the second half of the top 25 polls, Georgia Southern is going to be one of our bigger droppers of the week, as they had a close loss to Sam Houston State. I didn't think they should drop that much, but at 4-3, I do understand. Tennessee Martin's now up to 15 with a 18-point win over Tennessee Tech and are now sitting at 5-2. Sanford is at number 16. They had a 3-point win over Youngstown State. It was a shootout. Florida A&M, though, how about those Rattlers? 6-1. They are number 17 in the country now, and well-deserved after their arguably the most impressive win of the season, beating a top 20 Temple squad. New Mexico State also moves up a few spots. They will have a touchdown victory over the Idaho Vandals. Weber State still in the top 25 as they dropped to 19. They were blown out by Montana. Rounding out the top 25, though, we have Portland State at number 20 after they got only their second win of the season. They could be overrated, but we still have a second half of football for them, as they have 6 more games that they'll need to play. Chattanooga, 44-point loss. They'd fall to 21. They're still in the top 25, though. North Dakota State also back to 500 after a blowout win versus UMass. They win 38-0. Eastern Michigan's at 23 with a 17-point win over Indiana State. And then we do have a couple of newcomers. New Hampshire is back in the top 25. They are now number 24 in the country. And then Nicholls State is also back. A close win against Furman puts them at number 25. Checking in on the other schools that are also receiving votes, we do have 2 newcomers, so that does mean that Eastern Washington and Temple did drop out of the top 25. Eastern Washington, though, is still receiving votes. They are having 198 votes, so they're the number 26 team in the country. Murray State is in there as well at 187. North Texas, they're the leader of the Sun Belt. They could get a FCS playoff representative for the first time in a couple of seasons, actually. And here's the thing, the Brown Bears receiving votes. They have 17 votes. Could be the first Ivy League team to actually get into the top 25. And then finally, because of Montana's really good win, they are receiving a grand total of 2 votes. As for the Heisman watch, here are how things are shaking up as of right now. Stephen Robinson is still leading the way, as he has almost 3,000 yards passing already and 37 total touchdowns. But watch out for Roderick Murray. He's sitting at 2nd place right now. He already has 1,000 yards on the ground, as well as 17 rushing touchdowns. He's looking for that Heisman trophy. We do have a little bit of movement, though, as Brent Cunningham moves up to number 3. He is the beneficiary of Stephen Robinson's Heisman campaign. He already has 1,000 yards receiving on the year. Brett Transell of Eastern Michigan has led the Eagles to a top 25 ranking and has 22 total touchdown passes already thrown for 2,000 yards as well on the year. And then sitting at number 5 is the junior redshirt Stephen Terry. Stephen Terry, 2,400 yards, 22 touchdowns. He is certified him as well, and he gets himself into the Heisman race because of that. And finally, we have ourselves the players of the week, both from games that we did end up watching. On the offensive side of football, we have Solomon West getting the nod. He had a great game against UT Chattanooga. He ended up with almost 240 all-purpose yards and 4 separate touchdowns, making it happen both in offense and in special teams as he leads Texas Southern to a 6-1 record and sitting in the top 5 as well. Meanwhile, on the defensive side of the football, Anton Bell gets the nod. He is the sophomore corner for the Sacramento State Hornets. And in that 47-24 victory that we saw in the episode, didn't really tackle very much. He only had 1 tackle that ended up being a sack, but man, did he make his impact felt in the secondary. He had 2 interceptions, one of which he was able to take back all the way to the crib as they get a 23-point win over the North Dakota Fighting Hawks. So that wraps things up here for week number 9, and now we get into that last third of the season. We're getting into the finish line, the action only getting a little bit deeper, and we're going to have that gameplay as always here in week number 10, but we will have an update of the conference standings as well in the next episode so that I can get you guys catched up on the conference races to watch out for. As you know how it is here in year number 5. Win your conference, you can go and compete for a national championship, and that's always the most important thing. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, need you guys to do me a big favor and smack that like button for me, as that helps me out with that beautiful YouTube algorithm that we got going on. And also hit that subscribe button as well if you do happen to be brand new to the channel and you like what you see here with FCS as well as other content here. But with all that being said, this is John Jake Gaming on the mic signing off. I'm hoping you're all out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.